7 college football predictions. I made one last week for week 6, so if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go check it out. So the first game is South Carolina versus LSU. I have LSU winning 28 to 17. I think this will be a close game. I think both teams are doing pretty good. But I just think LSU will just be the better team in this game. I think they have more experienced players. I just think they play more aggressively, but I think South Carolina will put up a good fight. The next game is Florida versus Texas A&M. I think the score will be 42 to 34. I think both teams are really good. I think both teams will try their hardest to win. But in the end, I think Texas A&M will sneak away with the win because I just think they are practice like they're in big games, play like they're in big games in every game, and I just think they're more aggressive. I think they have more discipline, and I just think that they're just the better team, and I think they're better. The next game is Georgia versus Auburn. I think Georgia will pull away with the win, 49 to 14, because I just think that Auburn isn't the greatest team in the world, but still can put up a fight. And I just don't think that they're going to be playing as good in this game. And I just think that Georgia being good for several years won't stop now. I just think that they're going to get several good drives of offense and defense, and I think they'll win this game. The next game is Pittsburgh versus Florida State. I have Pittsburgh winning 21 to 17 because I just think that coming from like a football town, they have a lot more good players coming in than Florida State, and I just think that Florida State isn't the greatest team in the world, and I just think Pittsburgh will squeak out with a win. The next game is Alabama versus Missouri. I think the score will be 38-24. I think Alabama will win because I just think that Missouri hasn't been really great the past few years, and plus with Alabama always being usually good, bringing in a lot of good players, I just think that Alabama will be able to execute better, perform plays better on offense and defense, but I think Missouri will be able to put up a fight, and I think Alabama will squeak out a win. The next game is Ohio State versus Illinois. I think the score will be 24 to nothing. Ohio State wins, because I just don't think Illinois will be able to keep up with the fast pace of Ohio State. I just think Ohio State will be aggressive. They'll move fast and wear out Illinois. And I just think that Ohio State brings in a lot more players than Illinois. So I think they can rotate players in if they start to get tired. And plus, Ohio State's I think, just the better team. The next game is Washington State versus Ole Miss. I have Ole Miss winning 41 to 27 because I just think Washington State hasn't been the greatest lately, and plus Ole Miss has been okay. So I just think that both teams will try their hardest to beat one another, but I just think it comes down to errors. I think Washington will make a little more errors than Ole Miss, but I think this will be a tightly close game with both teams putting up a good fight, but I just think Ole Miss will come up with the win. The next game is North Carolina State versus Notre Dame. I have Notre Dame winning 24 to 7 because I just think Notre Dame's the better team because NC State focuses more on other sports, I think, like basketball. I don't think they really bring in people for football, and I just think that Notre Dame is more disciplined, has better plays, and I just think that they'll win this game. And then the next game is Iowa State versus Colorado. I don't think Colorado will be able to win this game, and I think Iowa State will win 28-14 because I just think that it'll also come down to errors. I think with like Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter gone, I don't think the team will be as good, but I think they'll still put up a really good fight, being good. But I just think Iowa State will just be better executing their plays on both sides of the ball. I just think they're more disciplined, and I just think they're the better team here. The next game is Virginia Tech versus Georgia Tech. I had the score 21-17, Georgia Tech winning, because I just think this will be a really close game. I think both teams are really going to try to beat out the other team. I just think that both teams will be disciplined. I just think it'll come down to who makes the most errors, and I think Virginia Tech will. And I just think Georgia Tech will sneak away with the win. The next game is Northwestern versus Penn State. I have Penn State winning 38-17. I just think with all the players Penn State has, I just think that they're play harder, more aggressively, they're more disciplined, and I just think that Penn State has more players. And I think Northwestern just will make a lot of errors this game, and I just think that they're not going to be able to handle Penn State. The next game is Indiana versus Oregon. I have the score 42-7, Oregon winning, because I just think Indiana hasn't been really good football wise. I know they've been good for basketball, and I think Oregon brings in more good players, more players in general than Indiana, and I just think that Oregon will execute, be more disciplined, be more aggressive, and I just think that they'll be able to beat Indiana. The next game is Arkansas versus Tennessee. I think this will be a really close game, the score being 24-21, Arkansas winning, because I just think that Tennessee will not be able to play good this game, and I just think that Arkansas will have a good game, but I think both teams will put up a really good fight. I'm really wanting to win this game, but in the end, I think Arkansas will be able to win. The next game is Kansas versus Texas Tech. I have the score being 14-7, Texas Tech wins, because I think both teams are about evenly matched, and I think that Texas Tech is just going to be better. I think they'll play better. I think they'll be able to complete more passes on or offense, and just play good defense against Kansas, and I just think Texas Tech will sneak away with the win. The next game is Michigan versus USC. I think the score will be 21-0. Michigan wins, because I just think that Michigan is just more aggressive. They want to win every game, and I think they have the idea that they should go in dominating every team. I just don't think USC has been good the past few years, so I think it won't stop today, and I just think Michigan will win. The next game is BYU versus Arizona. I think BYU will win 21-17, because I just think the way BYU has been playing, I think they're really good, and I think they'll be able to execute. I think they'll be able to play aggressive, and I think they're more aggressive than Arizona, and plus, I think Arizona will put up a good fight. But in the end, I think Arizona will make more errors and end up losing to BYU. And then the last game is Arizona State versus Utah. I think Arizona State will not be able to keep up with Utah with the score of 31-24, because I just think Utah has been just moving forward. I think they're more aggressive, have more players so they could rotate in. I just think that Arizona State will make more errors, and I think Utah will sneak away with the win. Make sure you check out Week 6. I made a few videos ago, and make sure you subscribe to see week 8. I hope you guys have a good